AWARD is an acronym. It stands for the Association for Water and Rural Development. We've been around for about 20 years. We're a non-profit and we work at a whole range of scales, right from community level right up to policy imperatives between different countries, mainly Mozambique and South Africa, and for example water sharing agreements between those neighbouring countries. In South Africa we've got a number of benchmarks, okay, so things that we should comply with in what was regarded as probably the world's best water act, and that was set for us in 1998. And those standards or those benchmarks sit there, and at the moment we are not complying with those standards throughout the catchment. And we're tracking that, and we're tracking that with an app that we've developed that will be available for people to use. So we know that in real time that actually as of today those flows are not being met, and they're real water quality issues. So you've got heavy metals, you've got problems with organics and nutrients, you've got E. coli in the system. We've got pH levels that sometimes go down to 1.8 in the Olifants River near Palabora. So throughout the catchment, with the exception of a couple of rivers like the Blada and the Wilge, we have real water quality and flow problems. And we're not managing them currently. So without further action, increases in population definitely increases in demand, both for sanitation and for domestic consumption, possibly expanding agriculture. Who knows where the mining's going? You can't paint anything other than that scenario worsening. So fairly urgent and systemic governance is needed to address that.
We have a freshwater team in the Kruger National Park consisting of the river manager, a freshwater ecologist, and then a river technician. It's my function to coordinate the river flow and quality monitoring in the Kruger National Park. This is one of our biomonitoring sites in the Olifants River where we take regular water quality samples. We also do fish and SAS, which the SAS is insect monitoring, that we look at all the water insects and then you can determine what the health of the river is. At this stage, I think the major issue that we have really is pollution via wastewater treatment works in all the rivers, the catchments that's not operational or not fully operational, and then there's obviously a high volume of phosphates and that type of pollution that we do find in the rivers. By looking at the results for the water quality in the Olifants River, it seems that the wastewater treatment works in the catchment might not be totally operational, or maybe only partially operational. So that is definitely a problem for us. Untreated sewage here in the Olifants River can cause algal growth, and that has a negative effect on the aquatic life in the river. We can test for pH and electrical conductivity, and also the dissolved oxygen on-site in the rivers, and the rest of the results we get from the Department of Water Affairs from their lab.
So we're here at Mambawea today, which is situated on the edge of Kruger National Park, slightly in Kruger National Park, very close to the Palabora Gate. This is a critical place in terms of monitoring because we can see what impacts the entire Olifants essentially would be on the Kruger National Park. This is the point that shows us what Kruger National Park is receiving. And this is both in regards to flow and some of the water quality parameters that we're measuring. So there was this need for tracking near real-time compliance, especially for meeting the environmental requirements. And this really was the spark to getting the ball rolling to where we are now. And the process currently is developing the dashboards that will be used to disseminate the information, as well as installing all the near real-time probes and data loggers. So today we've installed 2 of our probes, a water quantity one or flow gauge, as well as a water quality one. The flow one will be used both for your high flows, as I mentioned earlier, as well as your low flows. The water quality probe will measure a number of variables, and essentially what the water quality probe will allow us to do is pick up if there's any kind of a spill from the mines upstream, as well as the effects of releases from Palabora Barrage. Your continuous time series or continuous string of data, if you had to call it that, is really key in terms of investigating what the possible causes are of what is happening, and why is the environment reacting the way in which it does every now and then, where we see crocodile deaths as well as fish deaths.
There is some hope, with having this new Olifants Catchment Management Agency. It's been established recently. They're in the process of getting up and running. Better relationships between South Africa and Mozambique over managing the system for the interest of both countries. So those things they do offer some hope on the horizon.